Another occasion when Prabhupada had gone to Nairobi, and then he returned. And it was at this time, there was a lot of hectic traveling. Prabhupada used to travel, go to one place, another city. And so Prabhupada came to Nairobi, and then he came back from Nairobi to Bombay. And this time he had few disciples with him as his secretary and assistant and all of that. So when they landed, and you should know that Prabhupada was very meticulous in his planning, travel, baggage, packing, and passport. Prabhupada was very careful and well planned in all these things. And then he had trained his disciples also. His secretary were also supposed to be very careful in all these things. And so when they landed in Bombay, and the immigration officer asked Srila Prabhupada, where is your yellow fever certificate? You know, when you come from an African country, I think even now that rule exists in our country, you must have an yellow fever certificate. And that means, that shows that you have had the vaccine and all of that. And the devotee realized that, it was Shyam Sundar Das. He realized that the yellow fever certificate was not packed. And he was full of anxiety. He looked at Prabhupada. Prabhupada was not aware. He was also wondering whether his secretary had packed everything. And then he looked at Prabhupada. Prabhupada had that kind of a stern, serious look. And then he searched around and then didn't have the certificate. And then he told the man that no, Prabhupada has done all those things, but today we are not carrying the thing. Please let us go. And then the man said, no, come over here. And then he started talking to him. He said, nothing doing. If you don't have the certificate, you have to be quarantined for 15 days. And then Shyam Sundar, he didn't want to look at Prabhupada. You don't know what's going on in Prabhupada's mind. Maybe he's so furious, so angry he must be at me. What kind of a secretary, or how you have messed up my schedule, my travel, everything. What's going to happen? And then he kept on persisting with the Indian officer, trying to convince him, ranting and raving and giving this reason, that reason, all kinds of. And then that man said, just you see, don't tell me all these things. Even if Prime Minister Indira Gandhi comes now like this from Africa without a yellow certificate, she will be quarantined. So don't ask for any exemption. And so he came back to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm sorry, we are not carrying your yellow fever certificate. And he didn't know what Prabhupada is going to say. He's going to get angry, shout at him, scream at him. And he was in anticipation, waiting to see Prabhupada's response. And Prabhupada said, just heard that. And then he smiled and he said, all right, let's take rest for 15 days. And he was relieved. At least Prabhupada was not angry. Of course, I messed up his schedule and all of that. And then they were put in a hospital in Bombay, just near the airport. And then it was like a prison. You're caged in and you can't come out and all those kind of things. But Prabhupada was very happy. He was relaxed. He wanted to relax for some time. And a lot of pending correspondence had accumulated. He wanted to answer all those mails. And then he got into his normal schedule. And he was translating. A lot of translation was happening. So Prabhupada was very happy. 10 days it went on, translation, correspondence, answering, typing, his secretary typing all the letters, everything went on. And then after 10 days or 11 days, Prabhupada called Shyam Sundar and said, you call Jayapataka Swami in Calcutta, in my desk, on the right side, tell him to open the drawer, the yellow fever certificate is there. And he said, oh my God, it is there. All right, Srila Prabhupada. He went out and called. And then next day, Jayapataka Swami flew from Calcutta, brought the yellow fever certificate. Actually, Prabhupada knew the certificate is there. Just that Prabhupada wanted to catch up, he wanted to take little rest, catch up on the translation, catch up on the correspondence, and like this. And then after 11th day, 12th day, just about one day before 15 days, they showed the certificate, and then they came out, and then they came back to the temple. So, like this, Srila Prabhupada had wonderful pastimes with his devotees, and all of these pastimes are very, very highly instructive and very wonderful pastimes.